number 3, while we are building our school management system in VB.NET. And in this tutorial, we are going to be implementing the login and its functionality. So in the last tutorial, we went ahead and created a new table inside our database, and we called it login table with these fields, and also implemented the startup form. So let me go ahead and run this, and we'll see what we are having. So this is what we ended with in the last tutorial. So after loading this splash screen, it's going to load the login form. For now, the login form is empty. We are going to be working on it. But before we do that, let us first go back to the FM main. So just go inside your toolbox. Just go inside your toolbox and get a picture box. You drag and drop it on this form. So I'm going to be covering this area with a picture. So this is a picture box. Just go in the properties and you click on image. Then you can import the image you want to put. I'm having a thumbnail image. This is the image I'm going to put on that picture box. But as you are seeing, it is not fitting there. So to make it fit onto the picture box, just come to the properties of the picture box and you look for the size mode. This property size mode, you click on the drop down and you choose stretch image. Once you click on stretch image, you are seeing that our image now is fitting in the picture box. So let me go ahead and reduce it a little bit. So for now, we are having, that is our startup form. So I'm going to go ahead and center this form, because for now it is loading in the Windows startup by default. Just click on the form and under properties you look for a property called start position. You change it from Windows default to center screen, and the same applies to the login. I'm going to change it to center screen, such that, let us test this. You are seeing that when the form loads, it loads in the center of your screen. So now this is the login form we are going to be working on. And before we put the controls on the form, let us first go ahead and change the text to school management system. School management system. Then I will stretch it a bit. The first thing we are going to do, just go inside your toolbox and get what we call a group box. So we are going to be placing all our controls on a group box, and the role of this group box, if I want to move the controls, instead of moving one by one, I can just drag the group box like this, and I move all the controls at once. So this is a group box, and I'm going to give it a text caption here of login, as you are seeing, and I'm going to change its fore color to red. So red is my favorite color, and I'm going to change font to bold, and I'm going to use font 12 for this, as you are seeing. So after doing that, just go in the toolbox and drag these controls onto your form. The first control will be a text field for username, another one for password, and we shall have a combo box or a drop down. A drop down in VB, we call it a combo box. And the fourth control will be the button for logging in. So these are two text fields, one combo box and a button. So let us go ahead, and also we shall place their corresponding labels. So let us go ahead and do that. Just come, get 4 labels, and you drop them onto your form. As you are seeing. So now this one, let me change its text to username. Then the next one, we change its text to password. The third one, we change its text to user type. By the way, I will not need this one. Let me remove one, and we come back to the toolbox. We get 2 text fields. This one is for the username, as you are seeing. We get another one for the password, and we get a combo box or a drop down for the user type. Then lastly, we shall need a button, a submit button. I'm going to change the caption of the button to login. Then after doing that, for this, okay, let us get a label here, and we change this label to school management. System login. So we are changing it to school management system login, and let us press it here. So following our document, we are seeing that txt user ID is the name for the user name field. So click on the username, look for the name property, and change it. So I have changed it. I come to the password field, we change it to txt pass. You change the name property. We come to the combo box, we change it to CMB, change to CM box login type. Where is the name property? And lastly, we change the name of our button to btn login. btn login. So for now, let us first test what we are seeing. So let me center the login. Okay, it is already centered. Let us first test and see what we are having. As you are seeing, once you type the username, you type the password, someone can be seeing your password. So we are going to encrypt this field. And as you are seeing, nothing is under the user type. We are going to add two default users. That is the admin and the user. So let us go and fix that. So for the password, just click on the field for password. And then you scroll down where you are seeing password here, meaning that password character. Within the properties, just type the character you want your password to be. For me, I'm going to use a star, so just type a star. So whatever you type there, it will be turned into a star, so someone cannot see what you are typing. And for the user type, click on the user type, then you look for a property called items. And items is having attribute collection. Click on collection, then you add. Our first user will be admin. Click enter, and another one will be a user. So we are having these two. You click OK. Let us run the program again to see if those changes they have taken. Before that, let me also first reduce on the font for this one, for this label. So let me reduce on this font. So you click on the font property. Let me change it from 18 to 14. Then we run it. Yeah, perfect. We are seeing the text. And now, as you are seeing, if I put, let me say admin here, you put admin. For now, someone cannot see whatever you are typing. And if you click on user type, you are seeing that we are having an option to choose between an administrator and a user. But for now, even if you click on submit button, nothing works. For one reason, we have not yet placed the code for submit button. Before we continue, we are going to be, since we are using a MySQL database, we must be having a DLL file to connect our application to MySQL. And that DLL file we are going to be using, it is called mysql.data.dll. So you can go to the internet, search for mysql.data.dll, you download this file. After downloading it, place it somewhere on your machine. We are going to add it to our project. Minus this DLL file, you won't be able to connect our Visual Basic application to the MySQL database. So let me go ahead and add that one as a reference. To add it, just come, click on your project name, right click, then you click on add reference. I am repeating, click on your project name, right click, then you click on add reference. Then you can browse where you placed your DLL file. Mine is on drive G. Yeah, just click on it, then you click on OK, and automatically that one will be added to your project as a reference. So since we have added that we can go ahead and use the MySQL DLL library to connect the VB application to the MySQL database. So let us go back to the login form, double click on the login button, and for you to use that DLL file, you must import it inside your application in a form where you are going to be using it. So on the top, just type import, imports MySQL .data .mysql client. So that is the code we need. Minus this line of code, you cannot go ahead to use the reference of the DLL file we have added. So the next thing, this is the event for our login button. Let me take you back. If you double click here, that is the event. So we are going to place the login form here, the login code. And I have already prepared that. Without wasting time, you just come grab this code, put it there. I will be providing for you this document at the end in the description. So let us get this, and I am using try and catch block such that I can catch whatever the errors may be. So now this first line which is commented, as you are seeing, if at all we are using a MySQL database which is on a certain network or remote, we can go ahead and use that. But for now, we shall stick on this on localhost because our system is hosted locally. We shall stick on that on localhost. So what we are saying here, dim MySQL connection as a string is equal to the data source, and the data source we are using localhost, and our MySQL database is in port 3306, and the user is root. We have no password on MySQL. Then after creating our connection string, we must use, see what happens, minus the line I imported. Let me first go ahead and comment it, and you see. If I comment that line, you are seeing that these ones are complaining. MySQL connection, MySQL reader, and MySQL data reader. And the MySQL command, they are complaining, meaning that all these, they are items coming from the MySQL.data.mysql client DLL file we have imported. So now we are creating a connection. You say dim mycon as my connection. MySQL connection is equal to new MySQL connection, and we are passing the connection string or the path to our database. After creating a connection to MySQL, we have to make a command or a select statement, and for a command we use the MySQL command. This is built in within this library or DLL file. So now we are saying select stuff from, remember our database name, we must change it. So this is free school management is our database name. So come change your database name, and we are referencing the login table. That is okay. Where the username is equal to whatever the user types in the field for username, and the password is equal to whatever the user types in the field for the password, and the user type is equal to whatever the user selects from the drop down, and we are passing the context of our connection. So now, after performing your query, you need a reader such that you can read the data from your query, or you can execute your query. Minus the reader, you can't execute the query. So we are getting our reader, we are declaring a new reader, and we are opening the connection. Then we are saying my reader is equal to select command, which is this one, a variable holding our query dot execute reader. So we are using the reader to execute the SQL statement. And after executing the SQL statement, we are declaring a new variable and calling it count, and it is of integer type, and giving it an initial value which is 0. Then we are testing if we are having some results, if the user exists here, and for that we say if my reader dot has rows, meaning that the user who is trying to log in is really inside our database. If we are having that user, let us go ahead get this value of 0, which is the value for count, and we add 1. So we are testing and saying if the type of the user selected is admin, then our count is equal to 1. And we are issuing the message box dot show username and password correct, access granted. And we are going ahead and clearing all our fields, or resetting the form fields. After resetting those, we have to show a new form. And we don't have form 2 in our project. We called it main. So after logging in successfully, we are loading our main form. And that main is a form we are going to work on as our main menu for the project. It's going to contain all our menu items for the project, as you are about to see. And after showing that form, we are hiding the login form. I told you in VB, when you are referencing the form where you are inside, we use a keyword me. So me means this very form. So I am saying login.visible is equal to false. I am hiding the login. But what if, let us see this, else if count is greater than 1. If count is greater than 1, what does it mean? It means that that user exists more than once. And we shouldn't allow duplicate users to log into our systems. So we shall just issue a message box with a message duplicate user in the database and access denied. Else, if the user does not exist, or the username or password is wrong, we shall just issue a message username and password do not match. So that is for the case of the admin. But what if it is the case of the user? We shall get the user, if the user exists, issue the success message, reset our form fields like we did. And these 2 lines of code I have commented here, you will see that if he is a user, let me put a comment here. Here we shall be revoking, we shall be limiting. We shall be limiting the user some of the admin rights. So the user must have limited privileges, as we shall see. We shall be placing the code to do that in this place. After working on the menu, because we shall be limiting the user to access some of the items on the menu, and still we shall be hiding the login form. And the same case, if the user exists more than once, that one will be a duplicate user, and we must deny access. Else, if the user entered a wrong username or password, we issue this message. So this code must work, and we are using exception handling, try and catch. Whatever error that may arise here, we are catching that error and appending it to the message box here, so such that the user can know what is wrong. So let me run the code and test. But for now, as the code is launching, you remember that inside our database we have no any user. So let me go ahead and insert in the users manually here. So I will say the admin, and the user type is admin. Let me also insert in another user, and I say user, and the user type is user. So for now we are having two users, the administrator and the user. So let us go ahead and try to test our code. So now if I put in admin, and I put in admin, and for this time I select user, as you are seeing, username and password combination does not match, which is okay. But if I put admin, and I select the user type as admin, automatically we are seeing username and password correct, access granted. So we are issuing this form, and this form is a form where we are going to be putting our menu for the system. So let me try to log in as a user. So in this tutorial you are seeing that our login functionality is working. So let me log in as a user, and the type is user. So if I click on, still we are having the same form, but what will be the difference between the user and the admin? It's what I said, that the admin will be having access to all the items on our main form, but the user will be having some limitations. The user may not be able to access some of the menu items the admin can access, and that's what we are going to work on in the next tutorial. So next tutorial we are going to be programming our main menu, and let me try to show you what I am talking about. Let me launch this module here, and I try to log in as the admin, and you see what happens if the user logs in. So this is admin, access granted, and this is the main form. So this is the menu I am talking about. You are seeing that all these items, they are active if this is a user, no, if this is an administrator. Let me log out and try to log in as a user, and you see that some of the items, they must be frozen. Still the user is able to access the same thing, but this time you see what happens. The user cannot register a new student. The user cannot access all these. So the user only has access to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, only to 5 items. So here we have segregated the rights of the user from the rights of the admin, and that is what we are going to be working on in the next tutorial. So thank you for watching. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and comment. So let us meet in the next tutorial.